Next up here, step 4 out of 10 in our ultimate guide to Google Business Profile Optimization for solar companies. In this video, we're going over the basic info that's required for you to show up in Google search. This is the stuff that most people skip on. They're not doing it correctly. And I'm going to give you the keys to the kingdom here in the basic info section for how you can really max out your Google business profile so that you can show up more in relevant searches. So if there's one piece that you take away from today, this is going to be an important part for having success with your Google business profile. So let's get into it. First, let's talk about why this is important. Then we're going to give you some examples, and I'm going to give you the keys to the kingdom for really maxing this thing out. Google only knows as much about what you give it in what it will show up for searchers. So if you don't give Google any information about what it is that you do or offer, it's not going to show your Google business profile to searchers. So what that means is the more information that we give it, the better it's going to be. Consumers tend to trust solar companies more who have more information on their page. That includes their photos, which we'll talk about in another video, another section of this presentation, but we're going to focus now on this basic info, okay? So first, we have the business name. Pretty clear here, it should match exactly what your business name actually is. I'll give you a bonus tip here. If you have the word solar in your company name, that's going to go really far for your results in terms of how much you show up in search results. If you don't have solar in your name, you don't get to participate in this piece, but you do want to have your exact business name as it is here. You do not need to put Inc. or LLC or anything like that on there. Second is the business category. You want to see the step number 2 of this ultimate guide in order to dial that in and choose the correct category. Your location is going to be either hidden or shown on search, depending on what you select here when you verify and create the listing for the first time. So what you want to do is if you're meeting people at their location, you want to hide your actual business location. However, if you've got people that are coming to your location, like you have a shared office or something like that, that's where you would have the visible location so that customers could actually come to you. The last thing, we covered this in step number 3, is the service area. So a lot of solar companies, you're going to have your office, which is listed and it's visible online. Then your service area, you're going to also choose where you're actually serving. And we created some great information for you on that in step number 3. Moving on, we got a lot of stuff to cover here for basic info, is your hours. So choose actual hours where you're going to have somebody pick up the phone, not an answering service, somebody that's going to actually pick it up. You're not 24 hours. Let's stop pretending that you are. Even if you take appointments in the evening, maybe the office hours are a little bit different. You want to choose times where you're actually open and stick to that. Also adding in special hours, which include holidays and things, that's always important to do so people are not hitting you up when you're actually closed. The phone number that you choose, it's really important that this phone number is consistent with what's on the website and other places online. It's also important that you have a phone number listed that is local to the area. So whatever the locals are using as their phone number, if you're like a multi-regional, multi-city company, you don't want an 800 number on here. You want a local number that forwards to your 800 number, so that way it actually matches what other businesses have in the area. If you do a scan of the Google business profiles in your area, it's going to be very unlikely that you'd see any of them that have a phone number that's not local. So that's a big tip for you here today. The website URL, also very important. We've got other videos documented on our YouTube channel where we talk about the website URL and where you should actually point this URL, because it's not always the home page, but that's another subject for another day. Products and services, we're going to get into this in step number 7 because it deserves its own section to itself. There's so much that you can do here. Just know that you want to fill it out as much as possible. And we're going to go into more detail about what might be included there in step number 5. Attributes is a section that's always growing and changing here with Google. Again, the theme here is the more you fill out, the better. So attributes is where you would say that your company identified as Black owned, women led. There's even sections here about COVID for when all that craziness was going on. They're always changing this, updating this. As a matter of fact, there's also a veteran led attribute that you can include as well. These are things that your customers will find important, and that if you list them on your website, it will show them to your prospective customers, and that'll help increase your conversion, people actually reaching out and calling you. And then there's the description. Okay. This is the section at the bottom of your Google listing that contains the most information that Google uses to decide whether it will show you in its search results. So this part is so important that we're going to actually give you some examples of it and go into further detail about how you can maximize this particular piece. So when it comes to the do's and don'ts of your description, let's talk about those. Okay. So what you do want to do is use all 750 characters that you can possibly use in there. Don't waste any of the space. Okay. You also want to put your heart, your soul, your brand, your message into this description because it's what people see and what it's like one of the few places where they can see written words on your profile. You also want to utilize as many keywords as possible. We're going to give you some examples of what that actually means in some of the next slides here. What you don't want to do is you don't want to treat this space as the only place you can put info. There's other places where we can put that, products and services. We'll talk about that in step 7. You also want to just keep this to like your elevator pitch, keep it really simple and maximize the space. So let's look at some examples here. This is what 750 characters actually looks like. This is a lot of space. And I want to point out some of the key places here that you want to include for your Google business profile for your solar company. So firstly, we use the word solar company, we use the word solar, we use the word energy and efficiency all throughout this description. That's a good thing. We also use the city where the business is located. That's a good thing. We also use the state where the business is located. That's another good thing. I'm going to keep saying that over and over. We also have here the name of the business. That's a good thing. So name of the business, where it's located, who you're serving, maybe even the state that it's located. You also want to put words in here like solar company, solar panels, solar install, repair if you do it, and on and on. We have all these different keywords in here to be found by Google. We also have a little bit of the story, and we mentioned the founder here in this example. So there's even a call to action at the very end, which is very important for people to actually reach out to you and then get more information. So some key takeaways here, just to recap, using the keywords, using secondary keywords like energy savings, solar panels, using as many of the characters as possible, talking about the founder, the owner, the values. Those are things that can create trust and increase the conversion, people actually reaching out to you for a quote. And then mentioning any other ancillary services or things that you offer at the business that people might be searching for as well. We're going to wrap here with a couple of great examples, or a great example from LA Solar Group. Wanted to give them a shout out here because they've got tons of information while also providing more legitimacy. So you get a taste of their brand and their mission. You got their company name in here. They talk about where they're located, San Fernando Valley. They go into more detail about what they do. They also offer roofs, battery storage, etc., financing, all these things. If we're to nitpick this a little bit, the one thing I would say they're missing is the specific call to action, but they've done a really good job at focusing on the rest of these things here. So in summary, there's a lot that goes into your basic info for the Google business profile. We've given you a huge leg up here as in terms of some ideas and things that you can use in yours. Go out and finish the whole thing up, and you're going to stand a better chance of showing up in search results than any of your competition. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Make sure to go in the description below this video and grab all your free downloads. If you like this video, you'll probably like the rest of them on our YouTube channel. Go ahead and check them out, subscribe for more, and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye for now.